Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, I'm Marilyn, and if you're returning, thanks so much for coming back. It is full on summer here, and I need a few more casual summer t-shirts. That's what we're doing today. Here's the process. I found a super cute design on Creative Fabrica. I made a few simple changes to it. I'm going to use my computer to print it out on my L1800 DTF printer. So I'm going to be using film with that printer. After I print it, I'm going to put the powder on the back. Then we have to cure the powder, and I'll use my DTF curing oven for that. Once we've completed that, we can tape it down to my shirt after I pre-press, of course, and then we'll use the heat press behind me that you see to press it on. Some other things I'll use: heat-resistant tape, gloves, a respirator mask, my lint roller. Over here, I have a piece of parchment paper, and then this is what I use to catch my excess DTF powder, because whatever I don't use can go right back in the container. Now, I've used various types of powder. This is PYD Life DTF powder. If you're interested in seeing this process, sit back, relax, and let's get started. Let's start by opening up the Prorip software. And Prorip Software is software that ProColored uses to run their system. Since DTF printers print white ink and most printers don't, you have to have a special software to manage that ink. That's what Prorip does for you. I'm going to go right up here to Add Picture. We'll click on that. And then I can see on my screen the pictures that I have on my desktop or whatever folder I'm looking in that I can bring into the software. Notice you're limited to these types of files. So let's see, where is it? It's right here. We'll click on it and we'll say open. Now it takes just a minute for that to come in, not too long, but just a little bit of time. My film is 13 inches wide, and this is, I believe I'm printing it at 9.9 inches wide. Since this is such a tall design, I didn't want it to be super wide. Okay, let's move it up. Now you can see down here it says it's 15 inches by 18 inches, but notice it thinks it's coming all the way out to here. It's not. As long as I can see it on the picture of my film and it's the size I want it there, I'm fine. So I'll click on Rip. It says part of the picture's out of range. That's because of this and this over here, so I'll say yes. Here's the settings that I have mine set to. If I click on other options, I can see that I have mine set to mirror automatically. So let's go ahead and click on print. Once it shows that processing is 100% complete, my design will start printing. I just love to watch the DTF printer at work. The first ink that goes down is the main image, or what you see on your computer screen when you look at the design. Then you have 2 layers of white ink that are laid down on top of that, which is actually the back side of the design. DTF printers are not fast, but the final result is worth it. Here's what it looks like from the front. That is very pretty, but it's hard to see because of my ring light. Let's look at the back. On the back, it's just a matte white. We're going to add powder to that, and the powder is going to stick to that ink. Then we're going to cure it. That just means heat it up so it melts to the back so you can put it down on your shirt. Before I get started, I want to go ahead and put on my gloves and then put on my respirator mask. When you're doing DTF, you want to take all the precautions to keep yourself safe. Now, since I have the mask on and you wouldn't have been able to understand me, I'm just voicing over this part. In essence, what I'm doing is I'm pouring a generous amount of DTF powder on the design, and then I'm rocking the design back and forth because you need to get every bit of that design covered with the powder. So I rock it back and forth 4, 6, 8 times. This DTF powder is the adhesive that's going to bind the ink to the shirt. Once I think I have all the ink covered, I can go ahead and lift up my film, tap it into the container to get any excess off, and then I can put that excess powder right back into the container. The next thing we'll do is cure this powder. Basically, what that means is you're melting it enough so that it becomes one solid layer. I'm using a Pro Color DTF oven to cure the powder. I'll heat the design at 135 degrees Celsius for 150 seconds. Once the time is up, this design is ready to go on my shirt. I can use it immediately, or I can store it and use it later. Before we put our DTF print on the shirt, I want to make sure that I lint roll this. You want to do this whether using DTF, rhinestones, HTV, sublimation, anything that you're doing, you really should lint roll your shirt. Okay, I think that looks good. Here's our design. The back of it kind of looks like an orange peel, and there's what the front looks like. So I'm going to fold this so that the sides of it are together, not the sides of the actual film in case it's not centered, but the sides of the design. So I have the letters coming together there and there. So now let's put a little crease up here and a little crease in the bottom. That's going to help me center this. If I wanted to, I could actually iron a crease on here. And you know what? I haven't pre-pressed yet. Let me do that. I'm pre-pressing my shirt at 325 for 15 seconds. Those are the same settings that I'm going to use to press the DTF print on. I went ahead and folded the shirt in two so I could find the center. Now I'm going to pre-press it a second time. Now doing that second press where you have the line down the middle, that really helps you center your items. I should do that all the time. Why don't I? All right, see a little bit more on there. Let's get rid of that. Now what I should be able to do in theory is line up the crease at the top and the bottom with the center line on my shirt. So let's do that and see how it looks. Now this is a very large design, very tall design. So I'm going to push it up a little bit further on the collar than I typically would. Okay, I have that one lined up and that one lined up. I'm ready to tape it down. Now, if you watch my content, you know that I'm still going to hold this up, make sure I think it's straight, and then adjust it if I need to. The only reason I'm using this tape is because I'm not doing this on my press. So if I were placing my design down on my shirt, on my press, I wouldn't have to worry about the tape. All right, let's take a look at it. I think that looks fine. Now we need to let this cool down, so let's talk about the press. When I press these, I like to have my collar all the way off the heat press, if I can. Because if you press this collar, sometimes it can get a little bit shiny and the texture looks just a little bit melted. So in this case, I could have it off the edge of the press. That's what I did. This is cool enough, so let's go ahead and test a corner of it. Just in case it's lifting or something. I have never had a problem with mine lifting, but I still like to be cautious. It's coming off just fine. All right, I wanted to turn this shirt around so you could see it. It is very pretty, but what I like to do is, for a second press, I like to put my parchment paper over it. Now what I do with my parchment paper, I didn't find my parchment paper, but I had another piece in my drawer. So we are going to cover over this with parchment paper. We're going to heat it 15 more seconds at 325. That just kind of melts it into the shirt and it becomes more one with the shirt. Right now it has a little bit of a slippery feel. I don't like that, so I do the second press. Hopefully that showed on the camera that when I lifted the press, the parchment paper just rolled up by itself. It doesn't stick to your DTF, but you need to make sure it's parchment paper. All right, here is the final shirt. I think that turned out so cute. I'm excited to wear this. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing that. And then if you do subscribe, click that bell and then select the all notifications. That way YouTube lets you know anytime I upload new content. Thanks again, and I hope to see you in my next video.